please pause the video and take the time to read this important legal disclaimer. All trades and ideas on this stream are for educational purposes only. Flow Trading, its employees or associates are not liable for your trading profits or losses. All information is general market commentary and does not constitute investment or financial advice. We are not financial advisors, and this information is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Thank you. Okay, so welcome to another TA update. Good afternoon. It is just coming up to 1 PM here in the UK. And today is the 25th of May 2022. So we'll start with this cryptocurrency heat map, and you can see here that the great majority of it is in the red, with very few exceptions near XMR, so Monero, and FTT, which is the FTX coin, and a few others, but the great majority of it is in the red. No surprises there. The market's been slow and it's still ranging. In the stock market, traditional finance is a mixed bag again. We've got a few that are down, a few that are up, and nothing really extraordinary. Speaking of which, in terms of the calendar today, which could possibly explain why there's a lack of volatility in the market, it could be because everybody's waiting for this, for these minutes, which I'm talking about this FOMC meetings here at 7 PM UK time. So of course tomorrow and the day after we've also got some PCE and the GDP and unemployment claims, so that's this here, and the PCE coming out as well at 1:30 PM on Friday. So it could be all due to that, but the truth is that everything is very, very calm, eerie calm actually. Eerily calm. So moving on to Derivate, we've got on Friday we've got some expiries for the monthly options on Bitcoin. So at 9 AM on Friday morning, and that's 9 AM UK time, we will see this expiry, and the max paying price is currently at $34,000. What this means is effectively that most of the options will expire worthless if Bitcoin is at $34,000. Okay, so this has become a bit of a meme. There's no guarantee that the price will rise to 34,000, but it's interesting nonetheless. It's only $1.7 billion in terms of notional value, so nothing extraordinary. Usually you see up to $2.5 billion. So again, nothing extraordinary, but there you are. That's what we're seeing. In terms of volatility, the volatility did pick up for the month and is starting to taper off. And if you look at it for this week, it's significantly declined. Okay, so usually what this means is that the price is compressing, as we will see on the charts in just a second. So we start with the SPX, or the S&P if you like. And you can see here on the top left hand corner I've got the 3-day chart. We couldn't get above, although we did try to go up, we couldn't get above that low volume node, the 4,000 mark, where that yellow line is, and so we're kind of like moving back down again. So we're kind of like rotational. If you look at the bottom left hand corner, we're rotational inside of this volume profile, which is kind of, you know, rotational inside the weekly value areas for the VWAP. Okay, interestingly enough, on the 4-hour you can see that we have reclaimed the value area low of the monthly VWAP. Okay, so the -1 standard deviation of the monthly VWAP. Okay, obviously on the grand scale of things it doesn't really mean much, but because we are still below that low volume node, but it does add a little bit of an argument for potential upside. Like I said, I think we're overdue a bear market rally, so we could potentially see some volatility regarding this. Okay, but the truth of the matter is, if you look at the top left, you can see that we've got a big volume cluster here with a low volume node just below it here, so we could potentially be on our way to doing something like this. Okay, on the top left hand corner, as you can see there on the 3-day chart. All right, so we could potentially be doing that, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay, above 4,000, then we've got significant resistance at 4,100, and if we can break above that, then there's the bear market rally that I was talking about, and that's a change in market structure, and it changes things completely. But even if we see some upside here and we go all the way to 4,100, chances are that that was the bear market rally and we drop back below and continue lower. So we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, there's not really any good news coming out of the United States. Inflation is high. It's at a 40-year high. Consumer prices keep going up. You know, the fuel, food, rent, everything is going up. The wages are stagnant. And so it does look like we're on the edge of a recession, and that this whole rally from March 2020 is going to get at least partially retraced. That's what it looks like right now. Okay, so nothing really much has changed there. I don't want to go over the same things for the time being. We're just kind of rotational. We're just going sideways and compressing. Okay, on the Nasdaq is very much the same scenario. We couldn't get above that orange line of resistance, let alone the red one at the top, which is the edge of this volume cluster here, right on the top left hand corner I'm looking at. So we couldn't even get above that orange line, let alone the red one at 12,578. And so we kind of made our way down, and we are essentially back at the value area high of the 2020 VWAP. Okay, which is where this blue line is. All right, so now what remains to be seen is, are we going to rotate inside of here, or are we actually going to fall below, confirm that this is indeed resistance, and continue lower? That's again something that remains to be seen, and we'll have to wait and see. Okay, I had spotted as well on the 4-hour, and I'll make this bigger just so you guys can see. On the 4-hour, I spotted that there was a potential when the price was still up here somewhere, and I saw the 2 taps here and a sweep of the lows, and when the price rallied up and then started to come down again, it gapped down, and I thought this could potentially be a setup for a Quasimodo, right? But it just wasn't to be. Okay, so we're kind of still here, unless obviously I'm on the wrong time frame and this still kind of rallies from here. If it does rally from here, again, like I said, we've got a low volume node here, so it depends if we can get above this orange line. If we can get above the orange line, then we could potentially start rotating inside of this volume cluster here, right? So somewhere between 12.2 and 12.5. But then this is going to be significant resistance because we've got yet another low volume node here before we go anywhere, basically. And if we go up, then obviously this is the larger volume cluster that we would like to be rotating in, and basically doing this range here, right? But there's no guarantee that that's going to happen. Like I said, we've got plenty of resistance above. We got resistance here, we got resistance here, and it just it just depends now if we're going to rotate here, in here, or if indeed we go down, and we'll have to start looking at lower prices on the higher time frames to see where the rest of the volume is. Okay, so we'll have to wait and see. I'm not an expert in traditional finance, so you'll just have to consult those that are a little bit more experienced with that. Okay, I'm just looking at volume and the things that I usually use for trading. Okay, and volume usually tells you everything that you need to know, right? In terms of the VWAPs, you can see here that we got rejected yet again from the value area low of the monthly VWAP here, right? So particularly here. Okay, so we'd got rejected there. Here we broke above, but we got rejected at the monthly VWAP, and now we're still rejecting at the value area low. So there's not really much in the way of bullishness as of yet. If we look at the weekly VWAP, okay, there is a little bit of we're kind of like at the value area low of the weekly. It seems to we've just lost that. There's a low volume node here, so we could bounce here and rotate back to the top somewhere up here. But again, there's no sort of indication of that just yet. Okay, we'll just have to wait and see. Of course, if this rallies up, then potentially it could drag Bitcoin with it, as we are closely correlated with the Nasdaq. All right, so with that out of the way, let's move on to Bitcoin. And again, starting with the 3-day chart here on Bitcoin, I'm going to put some of the volume zones Again, we're looking at volume and high volume clusters here, and you can see that, you know, it's fairly clear that we got rejected there, right? We got rejected right here from entering this high volume cluster. Okay, does that mean that we're going straight down? Well, at the moment we're kind of stuck here because we've got a low volume node here and another one here, which is basically where we bounced from, right? So we could retest these lows here before we try again, and if we do so, that could be a great entry for a long position if we can reclaim this level here. But that's risky and aggressive. In my personal opinion, I'm much happier going long if we do indeed break back inside of this high volume cluster, like I'd said so many times before, which is around about 31,500, 31,700, something like that. And then if we are above that and we've confirmed this as support, then I'm happy to take a long here because it reduces my risk of getting a rejection there. Okay, if I put on the weekly levels, you can see that I've got a weekly level right there at around about 31,700. I've been talking about this for ages, and as such, you know, we're sort of like, I'd much rather trade the confirmation. Like I said before a minute ago, we've got like a low volume node here around about 28k. We've got another one at around about 25, 26k, right, which is basically where we bounced from. And if we do go at the lows, we want to see the price bounce there, okay? Because otherwise, what it means is that we're gonna, you know, this is low liquidity, yet another low liquidity there. So the low volume areas the price tends to travel very quickly through there. The price accelerates through there, okay? So, however, there is a little bit of liquidity here where the price kind of, I'm gonna put a little rectangle there. You can see that there's a little bit of volume there, and that's basically just from this high volume candle and kind of like a retrace back, and you can see that there's a little bit there. So we could potentially see a little bounce there, but I'm not really counting because with enough momentum this could just smash straight through this low volume area and go all the way to this high volume node here at 1966, right, which is also the value area high of the 2020 VWAP. Okay, so that's the higher time frame. Again, nothing's changed. We're still very much in the same position, right? So that's what I'm seeing there on the 3-day chart. On the daily chart here on the top right hand corner, you can see that we're kind of still struggling with the idea of breaking inside of that volume cluster. Of course, we've also got a value area low for the quarterly VWAP, which has confluence with that weekly level and the bottom of the high volume cluster. So this here remains a contention point at around about $31,000, $32,000. Again, for me, the confirmation is above 32,000 because of that weekly level. So not really much to be said there. In terms of the 4-hour chart, this is the monthly VWAP, and you can see very, very clearly that we're kind of just ranging here. We're still ranging inside of this range basically, and there's not really much else going on. Okay, you can even argue that this is indeed the range and this is just a deviation, and that's, you know, that's quite right. You can absolutely claim that, and it's a tight range. Okay, note that the value area low of the monthly VWAP here, as you can see, this is the monthly VWAP, this is the value area high, and this is the value area low, and it's at around about 28,500, 28,600, something like that, and it's right at the bottom of the range. Okay, so that's an interesting concept, and we are indeed inside of that value area low. As you can see here, it's already tested it. Okay, you can see it there, it tested it right here, right, and we kind of bounced from there. So what does that mean? Well, it means that there's a potential for, we're kind of still range trading, but there is a potential for moving up because we've already tested the lower edge of that. However, the one thing that is really apparent is that below all of this range of this price action here, there's going to be loads of stops. Okay, so it's an excess of liquidity right below there because everybody puts their stops in obvious places, right? Okay, so it doesn't have to be that far, it can be even a little bit closer. So naturally, even if the price was to move up and smash straight through the monthly VWAP and go to 34k, I don't think it will do that without testing this liquidity below. So essentially what I'm saying is that this will potentially go something like this, test the lows, and then squeeze all of the breakout short traders, and then do the real move to the upside. Okay, on the same hand, of course, we've got plenty of liquidity above the range, right? So again, everybody that's short will have all their stops right here. So what will happen is if the price is likely, if the price is going to go down, it's likely that we test the highs first, grab that liquidity, grab all the, make a bull trap basically, all of the breakout traders that thinking we're going to 35k, and then trap them and smash this to new lows. Okay, so we have to be careful here. Basically, again, above this here, I'm long. Okay, 32k is an area of plenty of confluence. I'm much happier missing this whole move here, right? Which is just a few percent, right? It's not much. What is that? That's 10%, right? I'm happier losing the 10%, knowing that I could potentially mitigate my risk above 32k, than risking going long here and then getting there and then getting trapped, okay, or buying long at the top. Okay, so again, we're just kind of playing the range, right? So we're just, again, like I said to you guys on the last one, at the highs of the range you go short, at the lows of the range you go long. Okay, and that's basically it. Of course, if you go long at the bottom and then it does that move that we were talking about where it grabs the liquidity below, it could potentially kick you out of the trade, but then you could always re-enter upon confirmation, which is basically back inside of the range, right? If the price goes lower and continues lower, then forget about it. There's no point trying to catch a knife. However, if it does go lower, deviates from the range, and then comes back inside the range, well, it's bound to test the lower edge, and then it's likely to go up from there. Okay, so that's basically it. That's the plan, and we're still waiting. It's just going sideways. There's not really much else to be said about that. We've been in the same range for ages. So let's have a look at this. Let me take the balance areas off for a second, and the volume zones, if you like, and just have a look at the clean charts. And now let's have a look at the targets. So this is the value area high on the bottom left hand corner there. This is the value area high of the previous week's VWAP. Okay, and you can see that I've just done the dotted line here on the bottom left hand screen, but on the bottom right it printed it as well. And from what you can see is that the value area high of the previous week also has confluence with the monthly VWAP. So again, this is a key level, 32k. And if I'm long from the bottom, this is the level that I'll be taking profits and potentially stalking a short if we cannot break above this. Okay, that's the entry for a short there. However, break above that and confirm it as support, and of course we're off to the races, and I'm happy to add to my long. Okay, so that's the immediate target that I'm seeing at 32k. In terms of targets for the lower side, I could show you that we've got the value area low of the previous week VWAP, which is also more or less round about the value area low of the monthly VWAP. So again, it's just the bottom of the range. It's really quite uninteresting there. So there's not really much else to be said other than range trading. So let's have a quick look at Exocharts and see what we can spot on there. So I guess we should start with the volume profile, the daily volume profile. No, let's start with the monthly volume profile. Again, this rectangle here that you can see in a light blue area is basically just a balance area, just basically just these little profiles all amalgamated together and putting it like a consolidation area. We are still below that, and we are not able to break above it just yet. We're getting closer, but we're kind of like knocking at that resistance. We cannot break above it. You can see from this composite volume profile here on the right that 32k does remain the value area low of that, and I want to go above 32k in order to have a chance to move higher up. Okay, so potentially to 40k or even to 37,500, which is basically this here, right? 37,500 should be strong resistance if we break above this one. Okay, it has confluence with the edge of this here, right? And then we've got a little low volume node there. We've got a low volume node there as well at 44, 45k. So I'm not sure if we're going to get there that quick, to be honest. But even on a bear market rally scenario from the traditional finance, if we go all the way up to here, I'll be very careful, because this is previous support and it's been largely untested as resistance. So even if we go all the way up there, I think this is a short and we go lower, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing on the monthly profile. Let's have a look at the weekly. So this is the daily, so just bear with me a second. Okay, on the daily I've got this, this is the monthly again, beg your pardon. Let's have a look at the weekly. On the weekly you can see that we've got a little naked point of control here at 22,700. We've got a naked point of control also at $35,000, $36,000. But we're kind of just rotating sideways. That's 3 profiles now, 3 weeks that we're just kind of like 3 inside weeks, if you like, of just going sideways. There's not really much going on there. Okay, so we've got naked points of control above and below, but they're all at quite a distance. So nothing really significant on the weekly volume profile. However, on the daily, it becomes a little bit clearer that we are kind of rotating like this for many days now, for nearly 3 weeks. And resistance does still remain that 32k level, $31,000 level, right? So again, this level here, 31,000, okay? And then we've also got a low volume node there around about 32k, right? So ideally what I want to see is the price break above this and confirm this indeed as support. All right, if we break to the upside, that's what I expect to see. Otherwise, any move to the upside up here is an entry for a short. All right, unless we break above that 32k level. I'm trying to be as clear as possible on that. You can see here that at 27,400, 27,500, I believe, we've got a naked point of control. So that's at yeah, 27,500. So if we do have a liquidity grab to the downside, where the price extends itself down before moving up, I do think that 27,500 could be an area of interest. This is a daily volume profile, okay? It's not a 30-minute, this is a daily volume profile. And you can see here from the CVD that the great majority of people are going long here, okay? So there's aggressive buying going to the upside, even though the price is just going sideways. So it's looking like exhaustion at the moment. None of these bulls have been able to lift the price up. So I'm not sure. It's a little bit undecisive at the moment, okay? In terms of volume, it kind of dropped off a little bit. You know, here we were in the billions, 3.5 billion, 5 billion, 4 billion. All this dump was basically high volume. And then as we approach this area here, we're kind of dropping in volume. Yesterday we had 1.4 billion. But today is only like 600 million, and the day before that was 890, 590. So, you know, volume is starting to dry up. So it's compression, and compression precedes expansion. So this will resolve itself sooner rather than later. I'm not sure when, if it'll be this week or next week, but that's basically what we're seeing. In terms of the market profile for the day, right? This gray rectangle that you see is basically the value area of this whole range here. It's a balance area. So again, I'm just going to do this again here. This is, I think it's 13 days, I believe. It's actually just 12. But just bear with me just a second. Let me just get this correct. So it's 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's right. So we merge 11 days, and now we've got a value area high and a value area low. Okay, so and that's basically what this rectangle is, and we're kind of rotational inside of it, right? So today we had a naked point of control here from the previous day. For some reason it's not showing here. Let me just that's been taken regardless. TPO settings. Naked point of control, where is it? Okay, for some reason it's not showing, but let's not worry too much about it. This is a point of control that has just got taken today. Okay, that's around about 29,300. We've also got a naked point of control here, 28,500. It's still there, right? And this should have been taken already, but we haven't. Although we did take out this previous poor lows that we had down here. Okay, we've still got the equal lows that we've not taken out. So I do think that we're on our way down here to 28,500 before if we are to move up. Okay, so this level here I'm interested in. Again, $27,000 is a volume point of control down here on the 30-minute TPO market profile, whatever you want to call it. And this naked point of control is a volume-based one, should be taken out as well. But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe the reason why it's not there is because of this, because I changed. No. Well, regardless of that, that's what we've got. In terms of poor lows, the poor lows have been corrected. We've got the naked point of control down here, 28,500, which is an anomaly. Okay, we've got a naked point of control above us at around about 30,400 as well, which is right at the highs of the composite value area of a 12-day composite value area high. Okay, if we do somehow manage to break above this, we've got some poor highs here at around about 30,600, and then we've got some single prints as well at round about $31,000, 30,900. Okay, so these single prints are resistance until proven otherwise, and we've also got that dreaded anchored VWAP from the highs here from round about $40,000 that is still holding down as resistance. Okay, we couldn't break above it. We haven't even retested it yet, but you can see that it's just above those single prints there, and that kind of clears up at around about 31,500. So again, everything's pointing to the same direction. If we break above, I'm still looking at 32k to be on the safe side. If we break below, I'm looking at 27 and 28,500 potential areas for a bounce. Okay, so that's really it in terms of the market profile and volume profiles for Bitcoin. So with that said, I'm just going to double check that everybody asked anything in the chat. Just Jay, sound and picture is perfect. Good day, traders. Good day, Jay. Good to have you in here again. So again, let's just remind ourselves that 32k is that area, which is the monthly VWAP. If you're going to remember anything, just look at the monthly VWAP and you will know that that's resistance until proven otherwise. Break above that and we're off to the races to at least 36, or 35, whatever. If we cannot break above that, that's a great entry for a short, and we'll be targeting at least the bottom of this range, if not lower. Okay, so of course, bear in mind there's a little bit more sort of more to it, as I've already explained here. Okay, so if we are in fact in a range, let's have a look at that range again. If we are indeed in a range and the price kind of like rallies up like this and gets rejected, as long as we don't go back inside of this range, this could be a bounce here and we could retest it again and perhaps even smash straight through it. So this is the key thing. It's the high of this range, or this high volume cluster here. If we get accepted back below, test at the edge, and now that's resistance, then this is an entry for a short and we're going to target that much lower. Okay, so it's not just as simple as like going up here and yeah, I mean, you can short that, but that's really aggressive. And of course, you could see the price coming straight back to you if we do indeed bounce on that range high. So just bear that in mind. Okay, the opposite is true. If we are to come down here and test those 27k, that volume naked point of control down here, right? Don't chase that short, right? Because we're most likely to come and test this resistance here first, or the previous level of support. Okay, now if we get up here and this gets rejected, that's the entry for a short position and you'll be targeting 20k or whatever, right? However, there's no guarantee that it will do that. It can get all the way up here, accept back inside the range and confirm that the bottom of the range is now indeed support again. If that's the case, I'll be entering a long position and I'll be targeting first the range highs, secondly that monthly VWAP, and potentially even higher to these levels here. Okay, so that's basically the plan, and that's kind of how I would play it. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you how to manage your money or to manage your trades. This is just how I see it, and So please just exercise caution and reduce size on volatile conditions. So with Bitcoin out of the way, let's move on to Ethereum USD. I do apologize, I have to make this one a little bit of a quick one today. So as you can see here, I've got an alert, so let me just delete that alert because it's just going to get triggered. God damn it, just bear with me just a second. Okay. Alright, so just to make it simple, I've taken away I'm going to take away the view apps. Now, we're basically using the same principle here on the 3-day chart of using these rectangles as balance areas. They're better visualized. I can visualize these automatically. I don't need them. I can just go like this and see pretty much where the I can see very much where the areas are just by looking at these volume profiles. But just for the ease of use, guys, for some of you guys that are kind of new to volume profile, I made it like this. Okay, so the colors are just so that you can distinguish between them. They're not very good or whatever. I didn't choose that specifically. But what you can see here is that we've tested the lower edge of this balance here, right? We've tested that. We've gone all the way up there. We got rejected. So naturally, we're falling back inside of this range. So the question now remains, are we going to get inside and get acceptance inside of this range? If so, the next level of support is all the way down here around about $1,400, $1,500. Okay, so that means that we accept inside of a balance area. We've tested the edge, it got rejected, so now we travel to the other side. That's usually how it plays out. Okay. Just like it did here, more or less the volume would have been different back then because obviously none of this volume here or that volume here would have been present, so the volume profile would have looked a little bit different. But here we reached resistance, we came back, we tested that level of support, right, and then we rallied. Okay, so we went to one edge of the balance, came and tested the other side, retested the edge of the balance, came back and tested the other side, and we're just basically, that's why we call it a balance area. We're kind of just like rotating between the edges of the balance. Here we've been rejected from the top, so naturally we could be on our way to testing the bottom at $1,500. Of course, if there is a bear market rally and Bitcoin goes up, then it's going to drag everything else up with it, including Ethereum. So just bear that in mind, okay? So resistance is still very much at $2,075. Okay, break above $2,075 and convince me that that is support, by meaning that we get rejected from this purple rectangle here, right? And that is an entry for a long, and I'll be targeting the other side of the balance, which is around about here, $2,800. And we'll be doing the opposite of what I was just explaining to you from this lower edge, right? If, however, this was already the test and rejection, right, then it's very likely that even if we test it already again, we still get rejected and go down. If we come all the way up here, looks like we're back inside of there, however, we fall out of it and go and retest that area, that is a short position, right? If we get down here, we bounce and we find ourselves all the way up here, again, this level remains key, right? Don't just chase the candle if it smashes straight through it. We want to see that retest, what it looks like. Okay, is it just a deviation and we fall back inside of here? Or do we actually bounce here and go up? Right? This is where you want to be entering long upon confirmation. All right, so this is basically what I'm saying right now. If I was to, gun to my head, if I was to say what's going to happen, right now it does look like we're going all the way down to $1,500. Okay. You know, Ethereum has been holding quite well, and there's all these sorts of talks about the merge and everything else. This is a larger liquid move, right? The larger liquid moves tend to get retraced. So there's plenty of arguments here for a bull case. There's a fair value gap between this level and this level here. So this whole thing here is a fair value gap. But for me, this is key here, which is the difference. But or the low volume node in between the high volume clusters, right? So a HVE, which is what I call a HVE, which is a high volume edge. As long as that one is still resistance, it's resistance until proven otherwise, and we go to look for buyers at the next level of support, which is the next HVE. Okay, that's basically it. There's no need to overcomplicate it. I know sometimes I do complicate things a little bit and I go over it in great detail, but that's basically it. Okay, so if I look at the VWAPs here, we could potentially see a little bounce here like we have already at the value area low of the 2021 VWAP. This is the 2021 VWAP. That's the value area high. That's the VWAP there. This is the value area low. We could see a little bounce there like we have already seen here. Okay. So we could potentially see a little bounce at round about, what is that, $1,770, let's say $1,800, but there's no promises there. The great thing is that we are inside a balance area, and that's usually how it plays out. So that for me carries more weight. In terms of the lower time frames, if we look at the chart and try and draw some other balance, some other points of reference, let's just have a quick look and see what we can find. Okay, so we are here, as you can see, we are inside the value area low of that monthly VWAP. Okay, that's a good start. All right, we are testing the value area low of the weekly VWAP. Okay, that's also a good start. All right, however, in terms of resistance, we've got a daily VWAP there, got a weekly VWAP here, and we've also got the value area high of the previous week and the value area high of this week. Okay, on the 4-hour chart you can see that there's not really, there's no really confluent levels there. Okay, there's not really much in the way of confluence. However, so let's just delete all of that. This is just so that you guys see here. I'm trying to show you here on the lower time frames. Okay, so obviously we're ranging as well, so you can see highs, the lows, the highs and the lows, and I'm just showing you these levels of resistance. Okay, so if we look at the 4-hour chart here, we've also got a little range going on there, right? And where are the range lows right now? Okay, it is being supported here by the value area low of this VWAP. All right, so again, we're just long at the bottom, short at the top. Okay, big high volume cluster formed, and this is basically the range, and this is how you play it, right? At the top you're short, at the bottom you're long. Of course here you can get stopped and we can come and test this monthly VWAP, but it works until it doesn't. We've done this so many times and we haven't even tested that. So let's have a look if this monthly VWAP has any confluence. And let me just take that fib retracement here and make this a little bit smaller. So this was the week of the 15th of May. So the week ending in the 15th of May. So we've got an area here, the value area high, if you like, of the weekly, of the previous week. And we've also got the previous weekly VWAP close there. Okay, so as you can see on the 4-hour chart here, it doesn't look like on Ethereum, it doesn't look like, this is just the top of the range here, and the monthly VWAP does not have any confluence with any of those levels. Okay, however, you see that this lower one, which is here on the top there, has confluence with the value area low. Okay, so that's this one here, right? It has confluence with the value area low of the quarterly VWAP. And it also, the top one there, which is basically this one here, right, has confluence with the developing value area low of the current year's VWAP, as you can see there, right? So things are starting to take shape in terms of resistance and support. Okay, so basically we're looking at around about 2,150 and also 2,400 as resistance. Okay, so if we break above that, then again 2,800 is possible, and that 2,800 is basically where the yearly VWAP is, which is just here. Okay, which is not even, it's well above the monthly VWAP, the value area high of the monthly VWAP. Okay, so these are all targets to the upside. Targets for the downside, like I said, is $1,500, potentially $1,000 if it's really, really bad. But that's kind of all I've got here at the moment. Okay, so I'm just looking for confluent levels, and I can see here that 2,200 or 2,180 and around about 2,360 are potential levels of resistance where confluent. Okay, we've also got 2,250 as the monthly VWAP. So, you know, those are all levels of resistance if we do indeed break to the upside. The same thing is true, just like on Bitcoin. If we break to the downside, like this, take out the stops, retest the edge, but we cannot get back inside the range, that's a short. Okay? However, if we break inside of the range, we wait for confirmation, make sure that it doesn't fall out of the range again, and this here is an entry for a long, and we'll be targeting the top of the range, potentially even the monthly VWAP and these targets up here that I was talking about. Okay, but we'll just have to wait and see for that. The opposite is true for the highs. If we get all the way to the highs here, deviate, go and test this monthly VWAP, and then start coming down, we have to look at the top of this range and just see, will it act as support? If so, that means we go up. If, however, we get accepted back inside the range, even if we test this edge and confirm that this is indeed resistance, that's an entry for a short. Okay, so that's basically how we're playing it. Okay, so that's Ethereum USD. Let's have a look at Exocharts as well, and I'll start with the not this one, I'll start with the daily volume profile. And you can see that we've got very, very close to taking this naked point of control, but we didn't. Okay, so that's again 1892. So let's say 1900. 1900 as a naked point of control there. Okay, this level here. And we've also got a naked point of control a little bit closer here at around about 1956, which surprisingly we haven't taken yet. That's from yesterday's profile. To the upside, we've got one at 2054. Okay, and above that we've just got that big area of resistance, of nothing, basically, of no volume there at all. So if the price was to rally, right, this is a low volume area here, this is a low volume area, so it's resistance, resistance until proven otherwise. If the price rallies through there, because there's no volume there at all, the price could travel very quickly to the next point of control, which is at around about 2,350. You can see here that the price traveled very quickly through that area as well already. Okay, which is proof of what I'm saying, right? So low volume areas, the price just kind of teleports straight through it. It's like a vacuum that sucks the price to the next level of liquidity. Okay, so just be aware of that. If you're short at the top, don't start and think in the hope that it's going to come back down. If it starts going up, cut the trade as soon as you can, because this could just really teleport all the way to $2,300. All right, so that's what I'm seeing on the volume profile for the daily. In terms of the market profile, which is also, well, it's a 30-minute chart for each market profile, but of course it's a for each TPO, but it's, of course, it's a day, right? So we've got a naked point of control here around about 1893, like I said, and we've not taken that. We do have a poor low there. We've got a poor low here dating back from the 19th. We haven't taken that either. And we've also got a poor high way up here on the 23rd that we've not taken that. We've also got a naked point of control here at 2055. So we've got quite a few anomalies above and below. There's no naked single print areas. Okay, they've been taken. This one's been taken. That one's been taken. So interestingly enough, there's, you know, less and less anomalies above. Okay, so there's basically one poor high at the top, if we're not counting with today's, and we've got a naked point of control and a poor low below us that that should be taken before we move. If we do teleport to the upside, the targets will be these naked points of control, and this one is at around about 2329, and that one is at 2356. The blue ones are volume based, the orange ones are time based. Okay, so with that said, that's Ethereum versus USD. Let's move on to, I hope everybody's clear on that. So again, we're kind of range trading. We're just trading the range. At the lows you go long, at the highs you go short. It's as simple as that. There's no rocket science. Hopefully by Friday I don't have to repeat any of this shit and we can just talk about trending, because I'm fucking sick of ranging. Anyway, moving on. Let's look at Ethereum BTC. And maybe I'll sort of take some of these lines off. All right, take these brush marks off. And so again, we have lost the developing value area low, as you can see here. This is the value area low that was holding us as support, and we've lost that now. Okay, we've lost that, and it does look like we're on our way down. We've got, if I can drag your attention to that level there, around about $64,000. Sorry, 64,000 sats. It is a low volume node. It acts as support until it doesn't. Okay, it's acted as support here, here, and here. All right, so it's being battered, but again, it is still support. So 64,000 sats is potentially an area where we bounce here on Ethereum BTC. Okay, the key area remains this clusterfuck here. It's the value area high of the 2021 VWAP. It's the developing years, so this year's VWAP. Okay, it's also a trend line that dates all the way back from fucking June last year, and you know, and it's a high volume node of this particular distribution here, right? So significant resistance above. Break above that and it's blue skies ahead, and I think that we've got a very good chance to going all the way to 84, maybe 90,000 sats. If we cannot break above that, even if we come all the way up here and we cannot break above that, then that's an entry for a short on ETH BTC, and I'm not sure how long this will hold for, and we could potentially see some very nasty moves to the downside and come and test the 2021 VWAP down here. Of course, there's a narrative that, you know, there's a merge happening. There's going to be some news coming with Ethereum. We're shifting onto proof of stake or whatever, but you know, I don't know. Is it buy the rumor, sell the news type of thing? I don't know. At the moment, it does look like we're just kind of going sideways again. We've not really significantly broken market structure as such. We're not printing lower lows, but similarly, we're not printing higher highs either. So ideally what we want to see like sort of this price action, and even if it comes all the way back down here again, then printing a higher low and then a higher high and a higher low, and that's kind of what you want to see if this is trending. At the moment, there's no signs of that. So I'm going to put the red lines again of support and resistance. Okay, and you can pause the video in a minute when I've put the timestamps on, and you can just like add that to your chart if you're interested in trading this. The thicker line, if you like, is that basically that clusterfuck of volume there, and also the VWAP and the value area high of 2021 and the trend line, and basically that big clusterfuck, and that's why it's highlighted in a thicker line. Okay, I can make it even thicker so that you can't fucking miss it. All right, but these levels, the red levels are resistance, the green levels are supposedly support. Okay, so let's have a look if we bounce here again. If we can bounce here, then we kind of rotate between these two levels, potentially testing that clusterfuck of levels up there. All right, if we fail this one, then the next level of support will be this one, because it's the edge of a high volume cluster. We could potentially see all the way down to 57,000 sats, and maybe even as low as 54,000 sats here, which is 2021's VWAP. All right, those are the levels of support, and the levels of resistance, like I said, the most significant one is this one here. If we break above that, then, you know, tapering volume, that means that the price will start accelerating as we go up, and ultimately it's not significant here on the 3-day, but yeah, ultimately if we break above this level here of resistance, then there's a big gap to the next level of resistance at 10,800 sats here. Okay, so big gap there in terms of volume and everything. All right, so as you can see here, again, just tapering volume with just a few edges here. So again, that's where price accelerates and it just goes berserk. So just bear that in mind. All right, so we're kind of, it does look like we're on our way down. Okay, so on the way down we buy, when it goes on the way up we sell. So, you know, just keep that in mind. All right, so that's basically what I've got here for Ethereum BTC. Let's move on to altcoins. and the lending market on DeFi. So we start with FODL, and again, not much has changed here on FODL. We're still going through levels of resistance and levels of support that are just based on very little, right? There's no previous price action here to take a reference point from, so I'm just going with big round numbers, and the price is literally just going down. Okay, there is no strength in the market for altcoins. This here, I meant to do that as a marker. This area here, let me just put that as a very bright, let me do that as a bright sort of area like that. Okay, good. This is basically a large liquid move. These tend to get retraced very quickly, and as I explained last time, if we do bounce here and find a little bit of strength in a way of volume, then I think the price will travel very quickly through here, and this here is a significant level of resistance at round about 14 cents. Okay, purely because there's hardly no volume in this. Okay, this is largely a liquid and inefficient move. This was previous support, and of course when we test a level of support that has been broken, it usually turns to resistance. Okay, so again, this could teleport all the way to 14 cents very quickly, but of course there's no signs of recovery in the market just yet, so we'll have to be patient with that. That's on OkEx, or FODL versus USDT. This is now FODL versus USDC on sushiswap, and you can see that we're still smashing through levels of support, or allegedly support. So I'm going to carry on putting them as orange, and like I said before, this here, large liquid moves, right? There's just no, this is just like largely inefficient. So again, if we are to move to the upside, this will get cancelled very quickly. Okay, this could be a little bit of a problem here around about 8 cents, and if we do break above that, this is a low volume area in comparison where that green line is, and we could see the price going up to here and teleport to here very, very quickly. There is a value area low there, so we could even just do something like this and then just kind of rotate between those two levels, but we'll have to wait and see. Okay, we need to see some strength in the market if that is to happen. At the moment, there's just no strength in the market whatsoever, so we'll just have to contend with that for the time being. FODL versus, I can't give you any levels of support as well, sorry, just to sort of reiterate, because there's no previous price action, I've got no frame of reference here, so you can just go with big round numbers. FODL versus ETH, same scenario. Okay, we're at all-time lows, and the last sort of line of support here, well, it's not the last line of support, but it's the next one anyway. Big round number here around about 300,000 way, and again, this is a previous level of support, so it could be resistance. So if we bounce here, we could potentially see this kind of range forming. This level here is what I'm interested in. That's why it's a little bit thicker here. It's the edge of a high volume cluster, and so this is going to be significant resistance if we do go to the upside. Break above this one, and I think we could potentially go all the way to here, with maybe this causing a little bit of friction there. Okay, so potentially one range there, followed by another range there, that basically pinpoints a much bigger range, which is the whole area of low volume. Okay, does that make sense? I hope it makes sense. For the time being, this is resistance, and so is this one, and this is support until proven otherwise. Moving on to BNB versus USD. Again, we are still exactly in the same spot that we were a couple of days ago. This is on the 3-day. Let's move on to the daily. We're kind of still trading inside of this little range here. Okay, so at the moment it does look like we got rejected there. Okay, we got rejected on like perfectly. If you guys don't know why I put these VWAPs on and the value area lows and so on, you guys like, look at this. It's fucking perfect. Okay, so that hit that level, it got rejected. We're now below this orange dotted line here that I had highlighted as a double distribution in this red box here. So we could potentially see the price rotating on the lower range, doing something like this. Okay, that's potentially what we're going to see. So $328 becomes resistance now, or you can be a little bit more anal and say 336, which is where that value area low is. If we break market structure, we're going to the lows, meaning take out the previous lows here. That means we're going to the lows. If, however, we bounce at the previous lows, then we've got a very good chance to go and have a stab at this again. If we break above this, then this is the next level of resistance, and we'll be rotating inside of this higher range here. Okay, so I hope that makes it clear, and that's around about $360 for resistance at the top there. Okay, I hope that makes it clear. I hope you guys understand what I'm talking about. This is basically, this rectangle is one big range, as highlighted here in the arrows, with two little ranges inside, basically a double distribution. And if you don't understand what a double distribution is, I shall show you. It's basically this here. You can see one volume distribution, like a pair of tits on the side, right? So that's basically why. Okay, that's why there's resistance there. It's a low volume node in the middle. All right, so that's Binance versus USD. Let's move on to Binance versus BTC. Very good. Right, so let me delete some of these scribbles, not all of them, because obviously we talked about this before. And I want to make it very clear here. So on Monday, I think it was, we were talking about this value area high of the developing years VWAP that had confluence with the edge of a high volume cluster. This here was going to be resistance. It was indeed resistance. At first, you can see here on the daily, that's perhaps even better seen here on the 4-hour. We tested that, right? We tested that and we got rejected. However, when it came back inside of this range, it also got rejected from the lower range. So it just fucking rallied, right? This is the perfect long entry, right? Is that a deviation? No, the deviation would have been get accepted back inside the fucking range, test it as resistance, and come back lower. That's not a deviation, right? That's going to the next one. Okay, we got rejected there. Can we confirm this edge as support, the value, the range high as support? Yes, we fucking can. As soon as it starts rallying, it's a long position, and off we go, right? So, with that said, we are now back inside of this range, okay? How long for? I'm not sure, but we'll have a look at the daily chart and just try and work that out. Okay, so there's a little apex here of a range, as you can see here, right? And we've basically got a relatively high volume cluster there. All right, so this level here now support. Okay, I'm actually going to put this up there, right? This is support. This is actually an ambiguous line here. Okay, these are areas, fuck the lines. All right, this is support down here. So either the edge, the top edge of this previous range, or the bottom edge of this range here, right? That's basically the thing. So this here is support, this here is resistance. If it does come back down here first and confirms that this is indeed support, that's a long entry, okay? And you'll be targeting the highs there. If this just keeps going up and up and up and gets to the top there, don't FOMO in, for fuck's sake. Just think about it. We've just got all the way to resistance. So if it goes all the way up here, you know we're on the top of the range. This is previous resistance, previous resistance. Here is a position, is time to look for a position as a short. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm just telling you what I would do. I don't long at resistance. I don't long at the tops. Okay. So if we come all the way up here, and this is indeed resistance, then you take a short here and you'll be targeting support. And we could be rotating inside of this range for God knows how long. All right. Of course, I could be completely wrong and we just smash straight through this level and we go to fucking new all-time highs and I'll look like a cock. But it is what it is, right? If this rises above here and confirms that this is now indeed support and starts curling up, then you're in price discovery now and this could just rally and keep rallying. But you're at all-time highs. There's no frame of reference in terms of price. Very much like when we're at all-time lows. There's no frame of reference, so you'll have to start looking at big round numbers. Okay, but this is basically the range that we're trading in right now. At the highs you go short, at the lows you go long. Okay, fall back inside of this lower range, something like this, right? Test that. Oh fuck, it's resistance. Well, that's a short position, and we go all the way down here. Okay, with potentially this being a little bit of resistance there, or support, however you want to put it. Okay, I hope that is clear. So moving on to Binance versus ETH. Looking strong. there we are. We've reached a level of resistance. This is a good trade here. Okay, I'd already put a line there. I put a red line there, as you can see. Previous resistance, previous resistance, resistance, resistance. We faked out above here, came straight back down. Larger liquid move gets retraced, right? Comes back, tests the edge of that. That's resistance, 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 and here we are again. That's fucking resistance until proven otherwise, right? So what's the range here? I'll let you tell me. Okay, support, resistance. So we trade this range here, right? Price should do something like this. If we fall back below this level here, then this will be the range here, right? And you'll be targeting this high volume cluster as the new range. Okay, I hope that kind of like makes it clear. That is one ugly arrow, so I'm just going to delete all that. Alright, so basically we're looking at this here as being the range that you're in. If we fall below, this here is the next range, okay? And there is like a point of control, a midpoint here, right? A high volume cluster. So we could potentially see this acting as support. If you're short from the top, make sure you take profit there, because we could just be ranging inside of there like this. All right. If you're long from the bottom, you take profit there, because we could potentially just see something like this. All right. Same here, but we haven't really formed a mid range there yet. Do you see what I'm saying? There is nothing. There's just the price accelerated because, like I said, tapering volume, right? So there's hardly any volume there. So I think this kind of just rotates now. All right. So this here is a short position all day long, even though I'm not a financial advisor and I'm not telling you what to do with your money. But there we go. That's basically what I'm seeing right now. Binance looking very, very, very strong against Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we'll move on to the next coin. And we're looking at AAVE versus US dollar on Binance. And we're kind of testing this area here as support. I'm going to leave that as orange because that's the low volume node there. Because essentially we're not really tested that as, we can't really confirm that as support just yet, okay? We kind of just broke above it. And we're kind of like not really respecting it. So we'll have to wait and see. This could be potentially the range here. There's a value area low there, as you can see there, right? So this is likely to be a resistance. So if anything, we could be ranging here like this in this low volume node and fill this gap, right? However, if we break to the upside, then we could see this high volume cluster playing out. So where's the edge of that? Round about here. Okay, so we could potentially see a range forming in this little channel. Break above that, and I think this VWAP will act as resistance, and we could potentially see another little range there. Okay, obviously we're looking at the daily chart, so you know all of this is kind of like higher time frames. Okay, you can pretty much do exactly the same thing on the lower time frames by just looking at, for example, on the 5 minutes, you can look at the volumes and doing exactly the same thing, right? So that's resistance. This could potentially be support here, right? And then you've got all of these little lines with divots and stuff that are telling you where the low volume nodes are, which could potentially be levels of support and resistance. Okay, I'm already sort of like digressing, but I'm just saying that this is applicable on all time frames. Okay, so don't just get disheartened because I'm just showing you on the daily level. All right, there's no excuse. You could be trading this on the 5 minute, you could be trading this on the daily, but I'm just giving you tips of how I trade and what I look for in terms of key levels. All right, so with that said, like, you know, you've got resistance, you've got a potential level of support. If it breaks to the downside, here is the next level of support, okay, round about $55 to $53, okay. If we can, that's again, this is obviously a high volume cluster there, and this is the point of control. This is basically where the high volume node is, so that could potentially be support, and that's why I highlighted it. Okay, so we're looking at this level here as the next level of support, and potentially all the way down to $16 if that doesn't work. Okay, so if $53 doesn't work, in hindsight, I think we could actually highlight this one here as a potential level of support, and the reason for that is because it's the value area high of the 2020 VWAP. Okay, so that's $41. Okay, but $53, big 50, right? Big round number. So we could see some support there. Right now we are struggling to get above $100. That's why we're finding resistance here. Okay, where this low volume node is around about $110. So are we just going to rotate between $95 and $100? Potentially, yes. Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised to just trade inside of this range here. Okay, and do something like that for now. That's AAVE versus USD. AAVE versus BTC. There we are. We've broken above the value area low of that VWAP, right? We're now inside of a high volume cluster there. So, like I highlighted to you guys already, the first level of resistance will be this one here. Okay, let me just delete those fucking scribbles. Alright, so you can see here what I've done. I've put resistance, support. That's the range, right? The overall range. However, I've put too many ranges because we've got an important key level here, which is that yearly VWAP, right? So are we just going to be trading inside of the lower distribution, or are we going to be trading inside the upper distribution? That's up to you to observe and decide. Okay, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. But spare me just a second, take all these brush marks off. Okay, so levels of resistance. This is the level of resistance, this is the level of support, and I expect that we just kind of range here for now. Break above it, and I think we go to this level of resistance and this level of resistance. If we break below it, then we go back to these levels here as support. Okay, simple as that on AAVE versus BTC. AAVE versus ETH, a little bit complex, but we did break above it, so that level does indeed look like support now. So I'm going to make that green. Okay, and I'm going to delete these scribbles because they're no longer valid. So leave that one. There we go. There we are. Okay, so again, we've got a VWAP there, which could cause a little bit of resistance. Okay, we've got a low volume node here and the edge there. Okay, so we could potentially just see the range playing out inside of here like this. All right, that's basically how I'm seeing it. Break above this, this is the next level of resistance. As you can see, it's the value area high of the developing years VWAP. Okay, if we break below those levels, then I think we go all the way back down here. Okay, to round about 450 way. But for now, I think we kind of range inside of here until proven otherwise. That's AAVE versus ETH. Compound versus USD. Same shit, different day. We're still in the same range. It's just been going sideways. Okay, nothing going on there. So this is support, this is resistance until proven otherwise. Break above it. This is a real level of resistance up here. Okay, at $101. Big round number, $100. Also previous level of support that has broken down and has not been tested yet. So $100 as resistance, also $80 as resistance. Okay, levels of support at around about $59 and $50, and if we lose that, then $40 as well. Compound versus BTC, same shit. Okay, again, just sideways. This is a level of support, this is the next level of resistance. That's basically it. Okay, so we're likely to just trade between here and here for the time being. Break above it, we go to the next levels. Break below it, we go to the next levels. Compound versus ETH, same thing, slightly, I think I had highlighted that already here. I'm going to delete that thing, but you can see again those value area lows getting tested and acting as resistance. Look, here, here capping the price, and here to the dollar. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, we've got resistance here. The next level of support is way down here. So we just kind of rotate inside of there. Okay, break below that level. This is the next level of support. Smash straight through it and go above. And I think potentially we can go all the way to the VWAP and trade inside of where this arrow is here. Okay, which basically means that this is now resistance and this will be support. Okay, that's basically how I see this playing out right now. All we can say is that we're playing in the lower distribution here. BAT versus USD, exactly in the same place where it was a couple of days ago. So again, this is still resistance, this is still support, and we are kind of like getting rejected here at the 2021 value area low. Okay, so the value area low of the 2021 VWAP close. Okay, so if we get rejected there, we could go and test the value area high. This is the value area low of 2021. This is the value area high of 2020. Right? It goes all the way back here to 2020. All right? So we just range inside of there until something breaks. Break below that, we go to this one. Break above that, we go to the next range. That's BAT versus USD. At the moment, this is 43 cents here at resistance, and that level of support is at around about 30 cents, 31 cents. BAT versus BTC, very much the same kind of scenario here. Okay, we're kind of, this is resistance, this is acting as support. Okay, I'm going to delete that line because it does look messy. So let's just delete those lines there. All right, so resistance, support, we're trading inside of this range here. Same thing applies. Break above, this is resistance, break below, and we could go all the way down here for support. Okay, moving on to BAT versus ETH. Very much the same thing, we're still inside the range. All right, so resistance, support. So we just trade sideways. Break above it, we could go on to the next level. Break below it, and we go and tackle these levels down here. Link versus USD. Testing this level of support. Okay, so support. This is resistance. There is a little dotted line there, which I think is the low volume area. Could potentially be also where these guys here in the blue candle got trapped. Okay, so these guys want to get out at break even because they bought and then the price dumped. So when the price comes up to them, they get out at break even. So that's why it's causing resistance. Okay, so essentially what we want to see is this kind of get consumed. This liquidity gets consumed here, and eventually it forms a bigger range. But until then, you've got two ranges. So at the moment, we're in the lower distribution. Break below it, this is the next level of resistance. Break above it, next level of support. Break above it, and then this is the next level of resistance on Link versus USD. Link versus BTC, same shit, different day. Same thing, right? This is still resistance, this is still support. Okay, we could potentially add another line here. I'm going to do that. Let's have a look on the higher time frames. Let's have a look at the 3-day here, like this. Yeah, there's a low volume node there, but nothing significant. In fact, I'm going to delete that. Okay, so that's basically what we're looking at, is that this here is resistance, this here is support. Link versus ETH. We've broken above this level here, and we're trying to hold it as support. I'm going to put that as green. Okay, we've got very strong resistance here with this value area low. As again, look at that here. To the fucking Okay, that's resistance. We just tapped it, confirmed it as resistance, boom, we go down. Okay, so can this green line hold as support? We don't know yet. If it does, then I think we've got a very good chance to coming all the way up to the next level, which is in fact here. I'll make that as red on the lower time frames. Okay, previous level of support, there's a low volume node there as well. Okay, in fact I'm going to put another one there. No, I'm not. Just going to leave it as it is. Okay, so I am going to delete this line here. Alright, so essentially what I'm saying is that if we can hold this as support, then we could be compressing in here for quite some time. Alright, break above that, and I think this is the level that we go to next, and that will be the next range. Okay, if we break to the upside. Okay, this is a contention point. There's a low volume area there. Okay, there's a low volume area below us, and also one here. So we could be just kind of like rotating between here and here. Okay, so in fact let's just do that. Let me just move this green line here. I'm going to move this green line to run about there. There we go, problem solved. I'm going to delete the rest of the scribbles. As price develops and you start looking at things a little bit differently, you can start seeing things a little bit more clearly. Okay, so this is a potential range, although we're being kind of rejected by the value area low of this VWAP, right? If we break above it, then this is the next range. Break below it, and this could be the next level of support. Break above those, and this will be the next level of resistance. Okay, so that was Link versus ETH. Let's move on to Uni versus USD. Uni versus USD, we're kind of like looking at those same principle, right, guys? Okay, this level here has resistance, this level here has support. So we've got 1 minute range here, we've got another range here. Break above the orange line, we go to the next level, which is this one. If we cannot break above the orange line, we go and visit this level here, which is support. Okay, that's basically what we're looking at. So $4.39, I think it is, a Uniswap has support, $6.12 as resistance. Break above $6.12 and $8 the next level of resistance. Okay, break below $4.39 and I think we go to $3. Uni versus BTC. Nice, clear, clean break inside. Let me just that value area low. Okay, so you see here the value area low got tested there. That was resistance. Got tested there as well, that was resistance, until eventually the price compressed right up against it and broke above it. Right, so now we broke above it, and we're probably going to retest that to confirm that there is indeed support. So we could potentially see the price bounce here, not go all the way down to support, right? And if it bounces here, this is the next level of resistance here. So we'll be trading inside of this range, okay, somewhere like this. This line here, this orange line, I'm going to move it down because now that's where the value area low is. Okay, so we could potentially see this range being a little bit shorter like that. Okay, but I'm going to leave it on the wider side just because it's kind of like it's just a little bit more, it gives a little bit more, it's a little bit more forgiving. Okay, but this level here could be potentially support. All right, so just bear that in mind. That's on Uni versus Bitcoin. Moving on to Uni versus ETH. Very same scenario. So we broke above this midline of the range, right? We've done that as well here. Look at that. We did that as well here. However, where did we get failed? We got failed at the value area low of the VWAP. So just bear that in mind. However, we've broken above this now. If we can confirm this level here as support, then off we go and we're trading inside of here. Okay? And this here will be support now. Okay? If, however, we break back below, then we go and trade this level here, between these two levels here. Okay, if we break above this level here of resistance, then we move on to the next range, which is this one here. Okay, it's as simple as that. This was a previous level of support, that's why I highlighted it there. Okay, it kind of held here as well a little bit, but not for long, and then we smashed straight through it. Have we tested it yet as resistance? Not yet. So potentially, and in my personal opinion, this is a high probability trade that we have resistance here. Okay, and hopefully we've got some support here as well. And so as such, we rotate inside of there like that. All right, so that's all I've got for now. I mean, there is no other catalysts that I know of other than the minutes for the FOMC meeting. That's coming tonight, so that could bring a little bit of volatility. There's some volatility potentially coming on Thursday and Friday, like I showed you at the beginning of this video, but I'll have another TA update for you guys on Friday. And hopefully we'll be out of this fucking eternal range so that we can have a little bit of trending. But anyway, keep your powder dry so that when we do break out of the range that you can sort of place your position and you didn't completely clean out your account trying to trade this range. But if you know what you're doing, then do definitely buy at the lows and sell at the highs. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not telling you what to do with your money, but that's all I've got for now. I'm waffling, so I'll see you guys on Friday with another TA update. In the meantime, take care and trade smart. Cheers, bye bye.